Welcome to the Medical Device Made Easy podcast. Here is Munir Alazuzi from easymedicaldevice.com, and today we'll help you to register your devices in South Africa. And I have with me somebody from the competent authority, SAHPRA, from South Africa. So I welcome Khanyisile Nkuku. So Khanyisile, welcome to the Medical Device Made Easy podcast.
Thank you for having me.
So, Khanyisile, as said, you are from SAHPRA in South Africa. We met when I was at Afri Summit because you were also there and discussed a lot of information about Africa region. And during our discussion, we talked about how to register a medical device in South Africa. And you said things that were like, "Oh, great! We need to have you on the podcast because of that." So it was really interesting. But yeah, for people that don't know you, can you maybe make a small introduction of yourself, and then we can go to this topic directly.
Okay. So as said, I'm Khanyisile Nkuku. I work for the South African Health Products Regulatory Authority. My expertise are in assessment and also licensing of medical device and IVDs in South Africa. And the aim is an effort to promote medical devices and IVDs access on a global scale. In terms of background, I hold a pharmacy degree from University of Witwatersrand, a master's in pharmacy administration and policy regulation from the University of Western Cape. And I'm also currently completing a master's in business administration in healthcare leadership at University of Witwatersrand. Background, it's mainly medical devices and IVD regulation, regulatory system strengthening. I have a strong interest in policy advocacy, policy development, implementation, and I am also part of many committee technical working groups, such as the International Medical Device Regulatory Forum, whereby I am in the Good Regulatory Review Practice Working Group, as well as the Clinical Evaluation and Artificial Intelligence. And continentally, I am part of the Medical Device Assessment Technical Committee that is under the Africa Medical Device Regulatory Forum within the Africa Medicines Agency. Thank you.
Great. So, as said, South Africa is really an interesting country for medical devices because I start to see a lot of updates. I start to see a lot of guidances, a lot of guidelines that are issued now. And as I said, I remember during our discussion, it was like, how can we register a medical device in South Africa? And I gave you a case. I say, I have a customer that wants to do that, etc. I said, oh yeah, it's easy. Just make a listing, or I don't know what you say. Say, yeah, but it has no clinical evaluation or investigation. Yeah, it's fine, no problem. I was like scratching my head. What's that? What's happening here? So can you help us to understand? Because the caveat of this is the fact that it will change. So it's why we are starting with that, because later it will change, and we'll talk about that later. But for the moment, until later happens, how can we register our medical device in South Africa?
Okay. So currently, like any new regulator that is starting up, we had to follow the WHO Global Medical Device Framework, which says that first know who are the people who are already existing within your country, who are distributing, manufacturing your devices within the country. And that's what we started. So currently, we are doing what we call a listing, and we are licensing your establishment according to Section 22C of the Medicines and Related Substance Act, whereby you will apply for either a manufacturer, whereby you're either manufacturing, you are packaging, you are labeling, you are doing reprocessing of medical devices that are allowed to be reprocessed, whereby you are doing sterilization. That all falls under manufacturing. Or you are a distributor who is only importing, exporting, and distributing. And we also have a wholesaler who is locally procuring from distributors and manufacturers, and also is also a storage facility. And in these applications, you will list your products. And within listing your products, you'll provide us with your GMDN code. You'll provide us with the class of the medical device. You provide us with details of who you are for distributors who you are procuring these devices from internationally, if you're importing them, and locally, who are you procuring it from if you are locally procuring. And within this, you have what we call an authorized representative. It's quite different from the AR in the EU. In South Africa, and in AR will be somebody who is based within South Africa, who will act on behalf of the manufacturer, who works within that organization, and who will liaise with the regulator. And you'll provide us with those details, and we'll issue you with a certificate, which is your establishment license, that will authorize you to then bring in, if you are importing or manufacture these products that you have listed in your line listing within your establishment. So your license will not have the specific product that, to say, for example, if it's Easy Medical Device HIV test kit, it will not have the brand name. Your license will just have a broad authorization. It will say Class D IVD, and that's the authorization that you get currently.
Unearth the pulse of the medtech world with MedTech Conf, a dynamic platform featuring global events on medical devices, biologicals, IVD, and pharmaceuticals. Stay informed, stay ahead, connect, share, and elevate your knowledge. Become an official sponsor. Make your event shine on the map. MedTech Conf, your key to the medtech universe. Remember, the future is now, and it's at your fingertips with MedTech Conf.
So, as I said, when you told me that story, I was like, so the most important person here is the authorized representative that is having this license registration, mainly establishment, and then he is listing inside his license products that he will import. Now the haha moment is where, like, okay, is this authorized representative, if he wants to import any device, should he submit to you some information of the device he's importing, or what are you checking mainly on this device?
Okay. So currently, because registration has not started, it's only specific devices where we will require additional information. So for high-risk medical devices, such as HIV test kits in South Africa, we see them as Class D. For condoms, for X-rays, ventilators, you'll provide us with proof that the product is already registered in one of the 6 jurisdictions that we recognized. So these are the IMDRA founding members. It'll be US FDA, Health Canada, Japan, TGA, the EU, just to name a few. So you provide us with proof to say that, no, I do have the CE mark. This product is already marketed in the EU, so I can distribute it within South Africa. And you'll provide us with also your labeling as well as the packaging information, just so we can ensure that within your label, you will provide details for the patient or for the end user to know who's distributing this product within our country. So those are the little bit of documents that we require. It is not a full technical dossier submission because it's not product registration or soft yet.
But this is for high risk devices. For lowest
Correct,
risk
yes.
devices, how is it working then?
So for low-risk medical device, there's no additional documents that you'll submit. So it's you submitting your application form. We also require a quality manual that is designed according to ISO 13485. We don't go and inspect currently. So we are trusting that the information that you're giving us is truthful and is compliant.
But so it means also then that if I'm an authorized representative, if I want to sell a product in South Africa, I just need to find somebody in South Africa that is my authorized representative, and then I ask him to register my products, lowest risk products, on his license establishment, and then I'm free to go and to start to sell my device in South Africa.
That is correct, yes. So yeah, so it's basically just us knowing who are the main key players within the industry, and that's the phase or stage 1 of good regulatory practice that we looked at.
So, as I said, when I heard about that, it was like strange. Why? Because when we look at Europe, that they are asking us for a class 2A device, which is still considered as low risk, or class 2B is still considered as low risk, instead of class 3 high risk. They are asking a lot of documentation, clinical evaluation, equivalence, show me that this product is already existing on the market, show me that the risk, blah, 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 show me. I mean, it's like, show me everything. And when I heard your story, I was like, so I sure you don't think it's fine. I can sell my device in South Africa. So it's why I had this like, what's happening here? What is, well, I mean,
Yeah.
what's the philosophy of this? But it's why then he told me that later there will be some change. But for the moment, is this something that just maybe to have some background? Is this something that created you identified some risks of doing all this, or not at all for the community for the patients?
No, it is still a risk-based approach. So one thing to note is that we actually, the medical device regulating devices started in less than 5 years ago. So in 2017 was the first time we issued an establishment license. And already there are medical devices, that have been in the country for over 30 years. So for us to first know who are the people, who are selling devices without stopping access to these devices. Because if you have a look, if South Africa had started with requesting technical dossier, with clinical evaluation, with validations, with evaluations, it would have created a lot of chaos within the supply chain of, medical devices. So what we did is that let's first see in terms of issuing an establishment license and then listing the products. And for high-risk products, then we will see where these products coming from. And we know that for these regulators that we've noted as stringent regulatory authorities, or with the new term that WHO is using now, it's the WHO, the WLA. So I just forgot the name, but yes, we know that we can trust them, and we know that they've done proper review of these products. And in the case of the product not being reviewed by any of a stringent regulatory authority, for example, if it's coming from Singapore, we can always then ask to say, okay, how long has it been in the market in Singapore or in another country? And distributors have been able to provide that to us and show us, proof to say, no, it's not a new product, it's already existing. For new products, in some cases, we also use a risk-based approach. So if it's an HIV test kit, if it's an HPV test kit, and it's newly new, and it's not locally manufactured in South Africa, it is imported from another country, but solely made for distribution in South Africa. We also work with our reference lab, so work with our VETS diagnostic hub under NHLS, and we can always request for performance evaluation and usability study, just a shortened one to be done with less than 6 months, which also then increases access. It does not create any, bottlenecks or hurdles in terms of ensuring that the product is available in the market.
I think it's a great approach, because here it's like a case by case and risk-based approach, as you mentioned. It's like we know that the product is on the market since a long time, so there was never any issue. So then why should we bother? But if there is a risk, you can still stop and say, guys, provide me more proof, provide me more information. And as you said, I suppose also, as you said, it's also to avoid the chaos in the country with some maybe disruptions also of products because you are blocked about them. So mainly this is a good approach. So this approach, as we said, is the approach of today. Is there a due date when this will be changing, or what's the future now? Because as I've said, you are more active, I can say, on this. You started, as you said, in 2017. So now you are more active. So what is the next phase? Is there a next phase, and when it is?
Okay, so right now, since May, we issued an expression of interest. So what we're doing now, we are embarking on doing a feasibility study, which is similar to a pilot, but we're doing a feasibility on to registration of medical devices. And in this feasibility, we are only looking at class C and D for only TB and HIV products. So this is where now, in this feasibility, we are trying to establish a process that is very new, trying to see what are the timelines we'll need, what are the number of people we'll need for review, and also to see if industry, is well prepared for registration once we do a call-up. So for this feasibility study, we are doing a process that is very new in Africa, whereby we are also using conformity assessment bodies to do conformity assessment of the technical dossier. So we've called up TB and HIV class C and D products, about 32. And we've had a few applicants that have provided and submitted. And the technical dossier format that we are following is the table of contents, the IMDRF table of contents. Yes. And this is where now they are submitting, the full clinical evaluation. And we also have two processes within this feasibility. So we have reliance, whereby the product is already registered by one of the 6 jurisdictions or WHO pre-qualified. And we also have full assessment for locally manufactured products, noting that we do have a number of HIV products that are locally manufactured and also upcoming with TB products that are also manufactured. So we are working with a few conformity assessment bodies that have shown interest, who will be assisting us in developing this process. And this will take about 18 to 24 months. So we are hoping to finish by next year, September. And then we'll then start, sharing the report and preparing our industry then to say registration is now starting. We have a submission portal, and these are the fees as well. And also ensuring that the industry is prepared, to pay for, the assessment of the technical dossiers, because that's also normally an issue, especially in a low-income country like South Africa.
So for the conformity assessment, the bodies that are making all these assessments, they are private company like in Europe and they are in South Africa, or who are they?
Okay, yes, so it is private companies similar to Europe. So the same process that in Europe is being followed is how we are also envisioning our process, whereby you will go through your conformity assessment, they will review the technical dossier, they will, go into the inspection of your site as well and create a report, and you'll submit that with a summary report of your TOC to us that we will review as a regulator. So they will provide recommendations on that. They do have to go through an accredited body. So we have SANAS, that is accrediting conformity assessment body, and they've been also working with us to ensure that these conformity assessment bodies that we are working with, we have 2 that are local and 2 that are international, because also we are trying to build capacity, locally, to ensure that the ones that we have only been looking at QMS, so they haven't been looking at product review. So by working with international ones, they can be able to also build capacity and also see the process, and also experts that they need to hire to ensure that when we do registration, they will have, the manpower within their organizations.
And so you said that we started now since May. Is it like any company that is coming now since May has to go through this process, or you are selecting companies, or you are asking for voluntary companies to do that, or how you select the projects that will go through this pilot?
So it is it is voluntary.
Okay.
And the reason why that it is voluntary is because we are trying to establish a process. So companies who have submitted currently now, they are not charged any fees. They're doing it for free. And also these conformity assessment bodies that we are working with, we are also trying to see if also they can also reduce fees in terms of assisting us in this process. So companies who are part of the feasibility, it's only ones that have shown interest. So it's not all the distributors or manufacturers of HIV and TB products. It's only those who have submitted. Our scope was to say that we want about 32 products, and currently we've received about 22, and we're still open to receiving more. So we don't want to have too many products as well. but it's just to see also in establishing a full process, noting that there's also the issue of how many CAPs do you have in country to actually go ahead with this process, but also knowing that internally you don't have enough, capacity to do product registration fully, because there's also the only registration officer within the unit, so that also creates a problem. Hence, then we saw it fit to actually go through this hybrid process, as we are calling it, of using conformity assessment bodies.
That's great. And as we said, this process will normally go, I mean, this pilot will normally go until end of September or September next year. I suppose that this is the time where you are stopping and you are collecting the data, making an analysis, and then deciding where you will be going. So it's not like by September you stop everything and everybody has to follow those rules, I suppose.
That is correct. Yes, that is correct. So in South Africa, before you can actually start registration, we have what we call a transition plan that needs to be published. So according to our act, the policy that governs us, we have to do a transitional plan. And after the transitional plan, we have to do a call-up that will prepare industry. So the transitional plan needs to state that from maybe the 1st of January till December, we want to start registering class C or D. And then you'll do a call-up to say, we are calling up for registration products that fall within this either GMDN code or within this infectious disease. And so with this feasibility, we are trying to see, is industry ready? So we are also developing guidelines, for the process, on how the process can go smoothly, and also in terms of having a digital system. So the submission portal that we're developing throughout this feasibility study is what I'm sure you're aware of, it, DocuBridge, that a lot of other regulators are using. So we're trying to have it be, accustomed to our requirements, and also have it to be easy for industry to use. We've seen that in our pharma side, it has shown a few challenges. And for medical devices within the study, we are trying to ensure that how do we navigate these challenges, making it easier for when we do the call-up.
So now this is the future. Will there be, like in Europe, no grandfathering? Means that all the old products, legacy products, will have to go back to this process, or legacy products can continue as is and only new products will have to go through this new process? And I think it's important for people that are listening, because maybe there are people that are already selling in South Africa. Maybe they say, oh, it's only for new products, so then it's fine. Or no, also the old ones will have to go through that.
Yes, so it'll be new and old ones that will go through this process. So hence, having this transitional plan is actually quite important, because once you do your call-up, right, to say products that fall within this GMDN code should all be registered, the transitional plan will state that from this day, all these old products should already be registered. So we will create the timeline for them to ensure that it does best fit and does not impede on access. And hence, in seeing how ready industry is, and also in preparing industry on the requirements as we develop the guidelines. So these guidelines that we're developing during the study, they are work in progress guidelines that are also available on our website, and they can go through them right now and start familiarizing themselves, because all the products that are in the market will have to be registered by within a certain time frame, as the transitional plan will be published.
Hey, just a second. Do you need a EU, Swiss or UK representative? Then choose Easy Medical Device. We can represent you and also become your importer. Contact us at eo@easymedicaldevice.com. So great. Yeah, I think it's important information for everybody that is listening and that is already maybe selling in South Africa, that yes, they will have to follow the new rules as soon as they are published. But yeah, we have a transition period. So I think it's not like within the next year. Maybe I suppose it will be like a 4 or 5 years process to do everything.
Correct. Yes, that is correct.
So Great. So I hope it helps now everybody to understand how to register in South Africa. Um, Still, the actual method is already in place. So if you want to benefit from it, you can go and start to register. Don't hesitate. But yeah, don't know that there is some new rules that will happen in near future. I wanted also to talk about something that you told me about your South Africa participation to the Africa Medical Device Forum, the AMDF. And you mentioned that it will help to harmonize also some work and also help to maybe register quicker the products in the different countries. So can you talk more about that? What is exactly this project or this AMDF project?
Okay. So under the AMDF, there is a technical committee that has been set up. It is called the Medical Device Assessment Technical Committee. And within this technical committee, there's a pilot that will be happening whereby we will be looking at priority diagnostics, so priority IVDs, and we'll do a continental listing. So for companies that will be interested, they'll submit on a continental level under the Africa Medicines Agency. And then this technical dossier, they will state the countries that they want to market. So we have member states within the African Union who will be interested. And currently we have a few experts, about 22 countries have already, set themselves as experts within this technical committee. The companies will submit on a continental level the technical dossier. The technical dossier will be reviewed by this technical committee of experts. They will state which countries they aim to market in, and their products, once approved, will be listed on a continental listing. This continental listing will then be used also as reference for countries to then say, oh, if a product is already approved on the continental list and you want to bring it into South Africa won't have to then request your technical dossier all over again. It'll just be the original requirements, because we know that the technical committee has already looked at your technical dossier intensively. So it'll, increase access, noting that, there's a lot of lack of expertise in certain countries within Africa. So using this committee will then increase capacity within the continent, and also will work as a procurement list, noting that if for example, your Mpox diagnostic is already on the continental list, it'll be easier as well for Africa CDC to then speak to their diagnostic network to say, no, you can use this test kit within your country, you can use the specific test kits. And also for Global Fund, they can also, refer to this continental list. And this continental list, it'll work as a complementary to, processes like WHO PQ. So it is not trying to compete with WHO PQ, but it'll work in complementary with it for our continent as a whole.
So we have, as you've said, 22 countries. So is it considered like a centralization here of some work, or it's, as we say, 22 countries is like, for example, you receive a product and you are part of this forum. So then you receive something, you evaluate and you review everything. So then all the other countries will benefit from it. Or here we talk about a centralization, like we have a group that is really central that will make this evaluation, and then it will inform the other countries. So how are we working? Is it decentralized, like each country will do something and the other benefits, or it's like central committee that will do everything?
So it's the central committee that will be doing everything. So this MDATC will be the one that is responsible for receiving this technical dossier, reviewing it, providing recommendation, and then submitting that to the secretary to say this product can be listed on the continental listing. And countries that are outside of this technical committee can refer to the continental listing. We will also have, our public reports, the public review reports that will also be published under AMA. So these countries can also liaise, to say, but we want to see how the recommendation was made. They are able to do that. So in as much as for the pilot, so we're first starting with a pilot looking at mpox. It is 22 countries, but once the process starts, any member state under the African Union can also join in, as long as they, meet the specifications to be part of, this technical committee, as we will be doing all the work and ensuring that these products are available in, throughout the continent.
So it's great to see this kind of collaboration with all those countries that work together, because as you've said, you have some countries that don't have the expertise. And I think also when we were at AFRI Summit, we had a lot of other countries that said the same. I said we don't have this expertise. So having like this process can really help you to have one central expertise that is helping with everything, and then diffuse this information to everybody and accelerate also that. So if I am now, I mean, I think it's in the future, but if I'm a manufacturer that want to register my device in multiple countries in South Africa, I can go through this committee directly. So I don't need to go to you, for example, for South Africa. I go to this committee first, they approve me, and then after that, I can go to South Africa for registering my device. Is it like that, or?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay.
So what will happen is that if you know that your product, you want to market it in multiple countries within Africa, it will be then going through this Continental, process to ensure that now it can be, reviewed in its entirety. And when we go to the different countries, it will be you just submitting the regional requirements, but then it'll be easier for you to bring it into the market, because now you don't have to wait, a whole 12 months for your technical dossier to be reviewed, or for them to be requesting for your device to be CE marked, whereby they say you have to take it to Europe, which also, there's a lot of cost implications. There's also time delays. So through this committee is to ensure that we create a system within Africa that will allow access, to products without creating the whole, delays and what's not. And also as countries, we can work with each other, noting that if there's also going to be post-marketing surveillance within the system. So because the product has been listed on this Continental listing, and you've stated the countries that you're marketing it, if in South Africa there's an issue with it, it'll be easier for us then now to go, and speak to Nigeria. While currently each regulator is working in silos. I'm pretty sure you know that.
Yeah.
We don't even recognize any African country as a student regulatory authority. So African countries are not seen as the best of the best, but we have some that have been regulating devices for quite some time, and which is why with this process, it has been working for pharma. So there is a medicines committee that has been doing quite stellar job, and now it's time for medical devices to also, get ahead and start, doing their thing as well.
I think it's great because, as I said, also for manufacturers, also it's a good process. It will help them to go quicker on different countries instead of trying to understand how each country is working so many. So then, and having difficulties maybe with each country. And I think can benefit also the patients in Africa, because then they will have access quicker of the medical devices. So yeah, great news. So let's see where it is going, and maybe we'll talk about that again, maybe at AFRI Summit next year again, and see where is the process for that. Okay, so I think we covered all what we wanted to say. The information I will put also on the show notes, your details, so that many people can, if you want to connect with you. Also the information of SAHPRA. I will try to find the information of the African Medical Device Forum. I will see if there is I don't know if there is a website or something where there is maybe the project. So if you can send that to me also, it could be great. Then I can put that also on the show notes. So for people that can want to know more about that, they can go directly on the show notes and click on the links and find the information. Okay, Khanyisile, it was really great to have you. Thank you again. Thanks for all the knowledge that you provided. And I wish you a nice day.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.